This is part 16 of my series on how to make a locomotive for Trains Rail Sim, and this is as far as I've got now with the B&LR narrow gauge 3-foot gauge 260 saddle tank number 5, built by Bayer Peacock. And I've added, since the last session, I've added in some details which I've just basically lifted from some of my other models, and these include the couplings, the safety chains, or coupling chains there, and the safety valve. I can't think of what else brought in. I think that's about all of them that I've brought in. And of course, when you bring in anything like that, it does cause a problem with some of the texturing, because you import the texture files as well, which can make a much bigger model. So what you want to do is to go back over these. Let's have a look at our textures. Here they are. Go back over the items which I've imported, which included these aspects of the smokebox fittings. So you can see that there's some odd bits here, that one in particular. So let's have a quick look there. A hinge bearing, and open it up, and you can see that whatever it was before, that's what it's going to be now, because we're using the standard frames texture, which I've been using for this loco all along. And although I've altered it, I brought in copper and brass up the top here and just simply updated it. You can see there's a funny little widget on the end of that, so we'll alter that. What I can also see there is that this must have been made quite some time ago, because I wouldn't normally have left it like that, is that I need to reset the X form, and that, there we are. So it's now correct for the X, Y, Z, and I'm just going to collapse it all down. And we've got this piece here. Yeah, all over the place there. And I'm going to make that over there. That'll look better. And I've also put a texture on the smoke box door, but I'm not convinced of it yet. So what I may do is adjust that. It looks a bit odd, doesn't it? So let's just have a quick look at that. Notice it's up here. Don't really like that very much. Take it down a bit. I'm still not all that struck by it. No, I don't like that at all. No, it looks awful. Let's planar it. Let's pick up all the front planes anyway. And let's planar it. There we go. Maybe. I think I might well be altering this part of the texture again to get it better, because it's too pixelated. You can see all the pixels there. So we don't want that. So I'll come back to that when I get around to it. And what else have I brought in? Well, not much else. Couplings, that sort of thing. We've got some odd effects here. As you can see, I've textured a number of items since my last one, so I'm just going to hide the roof. And I'm going to adjust these. Now, you tend to get quite a light colour inside cabs, at least on preserved railways. And that's all very well, but in a working railway you probably find it got a lot dirtier inside the cab, certainly towards the end of its days. Now I'm going to, the reason why I picked this up here is I want to clone those. Okay, and I'm going to hide those, hide the clones. and then I'm going to apply my frames texture to this. All will be revealed. Select face, and we'll planar it, and I'm going to take it down to this grey here, and what I want to do is to collapse that and delete that poly. So it's just an inner face of the cab, and I'm going to do the same with these two here. Just pick up the face. I'm still not happy with that, but I'll see how the mood takes me about altering it. Okay, collapse it all, and then I'm going to select this poly, make sure I've got the right one. No, I haven't. I want the inner poly, and then I'm going to select invert, delete the rest, and that should leave me with the internal. Yeah, there we are. That's the internal face. And I'm going to do the same over here. And all I'm really doing is just separating out this poly, this face, from the overall side. Make sure it's planar, in order to texture it differently. I know you can do all sorts of funny things and clever things with multi mapped textures, but you know, call me simple, I don't care. I prefer to do it so that I know what I'm doing, as it were. And I make this smooth highlights, unhide, take the roof off again, go into there, that's that poly out. Yep. And take out that poly. But make sure to take out the right one. Well, first of all, let's just try. Well, there we are. Look. So that's okay. Let's put the roof back on. There we are. Fairly nondescript, nothing at all. Sort of cab. I'm going to try and detail. We'll put some detail in the cab, or maybe use a texture to try and detail it as I go on. But what I want to do now is to bring in some of the underframe detail. So for that we've got the brakes, the brake gear, the sanders, two sand pipes there. Either side is the brake gear. And these bits here are the steps. Okay, right. So making sure we've got texture correction on, which we have. Let's hide everything apart from the pipes, the plan rather. And you can see I've played fairly fast in these with the couplings. It's actually to make it similar to the other narrow gauge couplings which I've done with the narrow gauge vehicles. Let's make a cylinder. Let's just rotate it a long way. Take it down 90 degrees and take the radius down to about 0.75, so that's 1.5 inches. No, that's too much. Let's see, about a 2-inch pipe. let's give it some height segments, and I'm actually going to take its length down. You can see it's going to be this sandpipe here. I'm going to take its length down just for the moment, so let's make it 8 inches long, and I'm going to bend it. Let's bend it, what's that about? It's not 45 degrees, it's about 30 degrees the other direction. Actually I think it's about, let's try 25. Yeah, 25 degrees. I'm actually quite happy with that, that's fine. I can collapse that down, take the vertices, and all I'm going to do is move this over. Oops, come down. Let's see what I'm doing. There we are, one sandpipe. And because it's going to go under the frame, I'm going to lose the just texture it. I've got to make it black because actually the bottom end of the pipe down here is going to be looking out to. That doesn't help me, does it? Look at that colour. I like mucking about with the greys because I think a lot of it is basically grey. I know it doesn't sound very exciting, but that's essentially what we're looking at. And just need to move it over. Make sure I stay within the frame. Make sure I know where the frame is. Oh yeah, the load screen. So this sandpipe, of course, should be centered on the wheel. Yeah. And then we'll do a clone and send it over to the other side like this, I think. Yep, there it is. So we've done those. Let's have a look along here. What's this one like? There's a sandpipe there. Let's save. Save as. There it is. There we are. So basically what we've got here is a box. Sandbox in fact. And as long as I can avoid making it too deep, I'll leave the depth of it until I've seen how it goes with the piston. And I think what I can do is I can reduce that to a poly straight away. Might have to do this again. Let's just have a look, see where we are. I prefer to go with that. You can get too pernickety with these, and what you want to do is create an impression of what it is that you're modelling, because if you go for every single little bend, it's going to cause you all sorts of problems with regard to the overall poly count, and you'll find yourself in all sorts of trouble when it comes to trying to export it, because it'll export, but certainly earlier versions of trains on my old PCs for this one had all sorts of fun trying to display it, and you've got some really wacky effects. because the graphics card just wasn't really up to it. Oops, wireframe. Oh dear, I can hardly see that. So let's try and make that a bit more visible. There's only a limited number of colours I think that you can actually use, because some of them are very poor for displaying. And if you start mucking about with the background, bringing in white or something like that, you get yourself into all sorts of funny problems. I'm not sure that wasn't very well done, was it? Look at that, my goodness. But what I can do now is I can look at this top down and I can delete a poly at the top there. Now although it's the same width as this box, and in fact what I can do is I can delete the top of that as well, because it should be hidden by the framing. Let's just group those two together for a moment, bring everything back out, and this we want to try and make sure doesn't actually crash into this. But you can see there that we've got the wheel here, which we're going to centre this on, and there's the driving piston, and there's the coupling rods. So let's just pick this up, this group, they are centred. Group is centred. Well, the individual items I noticed weren't, and let's just centre it towards that wheel. Okay, no, for some reason it didn't move. I didn't do it properly. Try again. X. Okay. There we are, and we can see it there. But also, what we can see is that it's binding on the bogie. There we are. But that definitely goes behind it, as we can see from the drawing there. So this angle must be wrong. So what I'm going to do there straight away is I'll move this one in. I'm going to take it right in. I think, what is it at the moment? I'm going to take it down to 0.4. See if that helps a bit. That's what we're looking at there. So if I take the grid out, and of course remember this is going to move about a fair bit, and it is still binding. Probably means that this is too wide as well. But I think what I want to do is just make that, what was that again, 4? Yep. So let's make that 4 inches. Okay, and here 6 foot. I'll move that over to 6 foot 3. Let's try again. Move it over 6 foot 6. What I'm doing is I'm trying to reconcile the position of the sandbox with the bogie. I don't want to go more than that, because the distance there and the distance there. Let's have a look at it without the... yeah, okay. Okay. I think also I can bring this forward. So at the moment it's 4'1", so let's take it up to 5 foot. Is that still okay visually, I wonder? No, it looks like it should be here. So see if I go with 4, 4. I think we can live with that. Okay, so now we've got this is the sandbox grouped up, so we're going to ungroup that. And actually no, what I'm tempted to do is to group it up again and to move it out. We've still got plenty of room now, I think, between the sandbox and piston. So let's have a do that one. Let's have a look. That's the edge of the rolling plate. I'm still well within. What's it crossing into now though? That looks okay, because that's what it does look like on the plan. How close are we though to those slide rods? So let's just have a peek with it animated. I think we're alright. Okay, so these two, which is, I'm going to ungroup it and I shall centre it now. And now what I'll do is I'll pick up the sandpipe at the back here, clone a copy, move it down, spin it round first. Okay, let's bring it back. There it is. Let's move in that direction at all. We'll keep it the same height as the other one. Let's keep this on this, and hide the rest. Let's have a look at that. So now I want to, actually what I'm going to do is trim this down, because I only need the end bit. So I can take out those, take all those polys. Along. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to centre just these ones. I can just pick up the right ones. So do that. And select. I was picking up some down here. centre those, and then I'm going to bring them back. So that brings it back onto the, because that lower end we know is correct for the wheel. So centre that. What I like to do is do a bit of the old reset transform, just to make sure it's right, and centre everything up. Let's put a bit of, let's have a look, see where we were on that. We were over there, so I'm going to do the same with this. And the main one, main body of it. Oops, gotta give it some texture first. And and I want to group that. And let's bring this back. So there we are, there's our, for this side at least, there's our sanding gear. And now what I'm going to do is take the group, make sure I've got it centered, and I'm going to clone it and move it to the other side. And then I'm going to mirror this. Well, first of all I'm going to clone it, and then I'm going to mirror it, which is a tool which I only use for this type of operation. The mirrored mesh is not going to be retained. I'm going to colour it differently, make sure I get rid of it, because it blows the brains out of the rendering engine for some reason. And I just want to pick up those, put it over. Okay, so that's the yellow one is the one I want to keep, the blue one I've deleted. So there we are, so that should give us our sanding gear on both sides. That's good. Yes, we're beginning to get there, you know. And now, let's save. And save again. And hide the unselected. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got brakes. 1, 2, 3 on the wheels, so let's make those. But what we do is we'll take the wheel and this, hide everything else. And what I'm doing there is I just want to make sure that it is actually the tyre, not the flange, which I'm going to brake it against. And it is definitely this line. There's the flange, there's the tyre, and there's the rest of the wheel. So that's what we want. Let's make this nice and big. Hey, let's make ourselves a nice big circle. Do it blue so I can see it. And let's see that I'm not in the, I'm just going to do this by eye. I'm judging this by eye. when you're doing the breaks like this, you can be a little bit a bit of guesswork. So let's reduce that. It's this position here I'm looking for. There we go. And I'm going to use a circle there. I'm now going to use a rectangle. Okay. And I go to wireframe, and I'm going to make that rectangle editable spline, and similarly for the circle, editable spline, and I'm going to try and make the rectangle visible. Okay, let's just have another look. Smooth and highlights. So let's pick up my rectangle and take the vertices right out here. Where are we? There they are, right across, to make sure they cut. Go into wireframe. Quick look. Okay, just go back, and that's where I want to refine this. I want to add a point just about there, because this arm is actually longer than this bit, as far as I can see. And that's something it finally dawned on me after making bilaterally symmetrical brake pads, brake shoes, whatever they are, quite early on in trains, and I could never get it to fit properly. Now I'm just going to move this over a fraction, because at the moment we're sitting on the tyre of the wheel. Yeah, I think we'll be alright there. So we've got an editable spline. Let's go into segments and lose some of them. There we are. And some segments that we won't need. Won't need that. I don't know if you can hear the dogs in the background. They're not ours. They're neighbours, and every time an ambulance or something goes by, they feel they have to join in. There they are. They're not distressed or anything, they're just purely wanting to join in with the ambulance. Right, vertex. Let's have a look. Fine. I'm on the bit of the circle now. Whoa. Didn't like that. Come back and come down. And cross. And we'll probably do the same thing over here. It's all to do with the geometry. I don't know. I was never good at maths at school, so I'm afraid I can't help you there. Okay, segments. So now we've got new segments, so we can get rid of that. And then we've got something beginning to look like our brake shoe. Let's just line that up. Brake pair on it. But we're still, all over the place. So what we need to do here is pick up our rectangles that are. The first one to move is this one. Bring it over, and then this one. Bring that over as well. Have a look in wireframe. Just. Yeah. I'm thinking y-axis. Let's just check that. Yep, I think we're there. together, pick up the vertices where they join, weld them together. Now we're ready to extrude, and we can extrude it by about, say it's offering us 4 inches because I've obviously done something recently. Oops, 4 inches. We do 4 inches. And unhide all. And 4 inches is probably going to be too much. Bring it over. But first of all, what we should do is reduce that. So we go 3 inches. There we are, centre. Okay, and align it to the tyre. Let's have a look down in our model here. Tight, but it's what it's. Well, it won't affect the running of the loco at all. It just looks tight, but then it always does. But what we can do is we've got our. Let's pick up our brake, and we're putting these on each wheel. So if I just hide the rest. And if we have a look here, now this business here, where it's actually overlapping it's not touching the other wheel, but it's close to it, and it's inside the diameter of the next wheel's flange, but yeah, I don't know. It's what it shows on the plan, so I prefer to go with that. I think it's okay, so I can delete that. Don't need that. And that position is alright. So there we go. Let's just put a bit of texture on it. Wow. Favourite grey. I like to give it a slightly different tint of grey so as to pick it out a bit. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, I think that's okay. So, what we can do is, let's have a look how many polys it is. 116, so let's reduce that down, collapse it to 32. Yeah, that's better. And let's unhide by name, and it's going to be one of these planes, isn't it? Probably plane 1, what I guess. Yeah. I don't like that grey actually. A bit too dark. I think I was right then. Yeah, that's enough. So now I'm going to take a copy. Let's bring it into wireframe. And just apply look. So bring that in. They always seem to be very close to the wheels, especially in these narrow gauge locos, which are quite diminutive, so all the scales are quite reduced. Okay, and then I'm going to, oops, one button. So let's pick this one up, and this one up, and let's group them. Okay, let's have a look on the top down view. And let's clone them, and That's odd. 0, 0, 0. That's not right. Hmm. Oh 7 18503 8.503. It does like to tease you, doesn't it? That's not right either. 18503. How the heck does it get that? Hmm. 8 inches out. Right, so that's, you can see now some of that detail under the frame is building up quite nicely. And so the next thing I shall do is I shall add the levers for the brake blocks. That's here, that horizontal, and the fittings here and down here, and the steps. And I'll do that in the next part, because this is now 42 minutes long, and I'm sure you're thinking it's like watching paint dry, but it's the way in which the more time you spend in adding these details, but carefully judging the amount of polys that you're spending, as it were, then the more it has such impact when it's loaded into trains and you actually see it for the first time running away, and it really does look nice. Just a little bit sorry that some of that detail isn't being obscured a bit there. Anyway, this sort of under frame detail always helps. Of course, any of the fiddly bits here. Still got a few things to do. We've still got some handrail to put up along the. We've got the widget here to go in, and some sort of detail in the cab, or a texture, something like that, to get away with the cab. I very rarely make cab views because all of my stuff tends to be of the sort of model railway layout type models. Right, there we go. So that's as far as we're getting to in session 16, and I hope it's been of some help to you. And if you do find it helpful, or you've got any queries or questions or comments, or saying why do you do this, or you're an idiot to do that, please do leave a comment. If you like it, leave a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. It's free, there's no commitment, I don't know who you are, there is no sort of harassment or anything like that from it. It just encourages me to put more videos onto YouTube. So ING for Trains channel, please do subscribe.